Hi there, it's Kevin with Roguedeckbuilder.com, here with number 3 in our top 10 countdown of our top 10 rogue cards from M15. This guy is absolutely insane. I don't want to begin to try to figure out ways that this card can break Modern. There's got to be some nutty infinite combos I'm sure that you can pull off with Chief Engineer in Modern. Artifact spells you cast have Convoke. You can pair this up. I did a video with this when this was spoiled with a lot of the blue artifacts, the artifact creatures that actually cost blue. And so this guy actually works with the other guy, the other engineer guy. What am I thinking of? From the Scars of Mirrodin that gives all blue creatures +1/+1, and then you can tap blue creatures to add 2 mana to your mana pool that can only be played on artifacts. Well, this just makes these two together just makes it so that you can just cast every artifact. I'm sure this can go in Affinity for Artifact type deck, or just a deck that puts out a gazillion artifact creatures, and then you're drawing cards with like Thoughtcast and even like Beck and Call. I can see Beck and Call with this guy, as you cast Beck and Call, and then all of your creatures can convoke other creatures, and you can convoke other cards like the Springleaf Drum, and then you can send it all back to your hand through Hercule's Recall, or there's another Hercule's Recall. It's a one-sided Hercule's Recall that I can't recall at this time. Then you can bounce all your artifacts and do it all over again and draw just a gazillion cards. So anyway, I definitely think this will see play in Modern. It's just waiting for the right brewer, which I might give it a go. But right now I'm focused on Standard. And this is the best. Unfortunately, Standard doesn't have a lot of artifacts to work with. We get a few cool ones from the new M15 set. Cards like Soul of New Phyrexia. That's a cool card to convoke into. 6/6 Trample for 6. We also have like Obelisk of Erd. And we also have, I believe there's one card that I didn't pull up here. There it is. Scuttling Doom Engine. Scuttling Doom Engine is another artifact that's just begging to be convoked in. And a 6/6 for 6 that you can get out a lot quicker than does 6 damage to target opponent when it dies, and can't be blocked by creatures 2 or less, which does come into effect every once in a while. It's just insane. So the card will see a lot of play, even in, I think that, again, if you brew around this card correctly, I think you can make some very, very viable decks. So anyway, let's just take a look at the deck that I have come up with that I think it works perfect in. All right, no surprise. This is a deck you've all seen a gazillion times. This is the Mono Blue Devotion. I'd put either 2 or 3 of these in, and maybe just not even put the other control cards like the... Again, it's your choice. You could cut like Tidebinder Mages because it does take that spot. Unfortunately, it does kind of hurt your devotion if you take out a Frostburn Weir or a Tidebinder Mage, but the upside is huge. To be able to convoke in a Bind of Thassa for free, you can get this guy in because your artifacts have Convoke, meaning if you tap a blue creature, you can actually reduce the cost by a blue. So on turn 4, Master of Waves, adding some tokens, and then tapping your Master, tapping your tokens that you've put in to put in a Bind of Thassa that turn, and then maybe even still able to get in with a Judge's Familiar hit or something else like that to draw a card. That is just insane. But the other combination is you're casting the Master of Waves, and then you can immediately convoke your tokens to Hall of Triumph. Therefore, if Master of Waves dies, you still have elemental creatures that can survive. Now, Obelisk of Erd actually sounds like it's pretty good in this deck because you can name elementals. Unfortunately, the only elementals in your deck would be Mutavault and the tokens from Master of Waves, but sometimes that's all you need. One of the problems with Master of Waves in Mono Blue is there's such a target on its head. Once it dies, all of those elementals go away, and that's with the addition of the Hall of Triumph that made the deck a lot better, a lot more resilient. So I think you could actually even up your count. A lot of them only use 1 to maybe 1, 2, or 3, and have this be your game plan to Master Waves and then convoke into Hall of Triumph. I'm thinking that I think it's just so underrated at this point what the Chief Engineer can even do in Mono Blue Devotion. Now the good news is too, yes, we are losing a huge shell of Mono Blue Devotion. We are losing all of these guys, but what we are keeping will be the Hall of Triumphs, will be the Bind of Thassas, and will be the Master of Waves. With Chief Engineer, I kind of wish they would have Just for standard, I wish they would have made it a double blue, but maybe this combination would have been too obvious. But I think that we do have enough cards. Even if Master Waves is just putting out 2 tokens, that's pretty huge with Convoke into some other artifacts, and it only gets better as we get some new artifacts in the next set, because again, Theros, we're not losing many artifacts. A couple of other cool cards. Civic Saber just seems so good in this deck, and if you can Convoke it, I think that might actually be a nice little trick. Look at all the double. Nightveil Spectre becomes a 4/3, Judge's Familiar becomes a 3/1, and Frostburn Weird becomes a 3/4. So just keep that in mind, and any other creature gets +1/+0. I don't think it will see any play in this deck, but it's definitely an option. Against kind of grindy matchups, you could definitely do Ring of 3 Wishes. Again, Master Waves and Convoke in a Ring of 3 Wishes. Now you can go get more Thassa's, more Master Waves. That seems pretty good, but Strionic Resonator also seems pretty sweet. You can Convoke this guy in on turn 2, possibly. You Convoke it in with the Chief Engineer, and then you can start copying the abilities in this deck. They're numerous. You can copy a Binding of Thassa triggered ability. You can copy a Nightveil Spectre triggered ability. You can copy a Master of Waves triggered ability. You can copy a Tidebinder Mage triggered ability, and you could even copy a Scry ability with Thassa if you want to Scry for 2. But I mean, I think it's just even more broken on Master Waves. Get double the tokens, and you might want to mess around with just a 1 of Strionic Resonator. I definitely think this card needs to see more play than it has seen. So again, Mono Blue Devotion is the place I would put Chief Engineer. You heard it first here on Roguedeckbuilder.com. I'll be playing this deck, one of the first decks that I will be testing out, since it's already proven itself in Standard. And I think that people might be moving on to more of a mid-range strategy with the addition of a lot of resilient cards from M15. I think the Master of Waves can definitely, or the Mono Blue Devotion can definitely slip back in and be the #1 contender, and absolutely going to play that Chief Engineer just for the Hall of Triumph and Binding of Thassa interaction. Anyway, this has been Kevin with Roguedeckbuilder.com. We'll take one more look at Chief Engineer. This card is absolutely insane. Thanks for watching.